Hey everybody, welcome to this live stream with my friend Jorge Capestany. He's such a great coach, and we've had him on a couple times now for the summit, and this will be his third time. So we're going to talk about how to practice like the pros, and this will be a great one for all of you, and a real treat from a master pro on both the USPTA and PTR levels, which is very rare. So Jorge, how are you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me back. See, the summit ends tomorrow, so it's been a real trip, and I've enjoyed watching, not only presenting, but watching a lot of the other guys. It's great. So I'm excited to do our little last live stream here and show people a couple games. Hopefully, they can learn to practice efficiently when they're on their own or with a buddy.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I'm really excited for this because, that's a big problem for tennis players is that they're not able to play as well as they can in their matches as they do in their practices. And a lot of that stems obviously because of the way they practice. And it really all comes down to how you train, and you want to train efficiently and effectively. So that's why we have Jorge on. So, and we'll also take your questions. So feel free to ask questions, and we'll obviously stop at the appropriate times and answer them for you. But Jorge, I know that you're actually known as the master of tennis drills, and I guess just if you have maybe like you know I guess you can answer this question. Why are drills so key to being successful in your matches?
Well, the way I explain it is a drill, a good one, is just a little. So I have a tennis drills website, which is mostly for coaches. It's got 2,000 drills, but every scenario that you have to practice in tennis, transitioning to the net, defending off an overhead, coming in on a short ball, dealing with low balls, all of that happens in a match. And a really good drill is just designed to give you lots of touches on the ball on that specific skill. So when we spoke about what this offer was going to be, I'm going to give people a chance to get this course for free. And the course I picked is actually one on my player's website. And it's really, the course is titled Pro Practice Secrets. And there's a little story behind the course. So obviously, I am a tennis club manager, tennis pro, longtime tennis teacher at a club, taught more than 63,000 hours on the court over my 40 years. So I totally believe in group lessons and clinics and all that stuff. I still run them at my club today. But what I found is if that's all you do, if you just are a drill taker or a lesson taker, you won't go as far as you want or as quickly as you want. So I've noticed for years that the pros practice differently, right? Like when Rafa goes to work out, he's not calling six other pros and saying, hey, let's get a group drill with Coach Jorge. They don't do that. They usually do one-on-one kind of stuff, maybe two-on-one. So it dawned on me that my club players over the years, they never had that. All they really ever did was the group lesson that I was offering, and then maybe they played, sets with their buddies or something. But they didn't have that training. I call it training versus practicing. And that's kind of what I wanted to show. And a lot of what this course includes and what these drills you're going to see here are really from this frustration. When I was a younger coach, I was lucky. I had some really good juniors at my club, and three of them ended up winning gold balls, which means you're the number one player. You won a national championship. Well, of those three, two of them were sisters, and they were young. They won the girls 16s nationals, girls 14 nationals. His sister did. So obviously, as their coach, my problem was how do I get other girls, preferably their age, to practice with them when they're the best in the whole country? So it was hard. So because they were so skilled, their pool of people for good practice was shrinking and shrinking. So what ended up happening out of necessity is they would play my older guys. They play 18-year-old boys, and it would be competitive because these girls were that talented. But it was quite different. An 18-year-old boy plays quite a bit different than a 14-year-old girl. So it was practice and it was competitive, but it wasn't similar to what they were going to experience, in nationals. So what I really wanted was for these two girls to practice with each other. But they were sisters, and of course that didn't go so good because every time I tried to get them to do it, they get in a fight and they wanted if they played, whoever got ahead was happy, the other one wanted to quit, and that's just it. So for years, I tried to come up with games for them. And then this is kind of what evolved eventually into this course called Pro Practice Secrets. Um, the ability to hit with a buddy outside of class, I definitely think you should be working with a coach. But this extra training, instead of maybe just playing sets every Friday, if you can do some training games, I think it could be really helpful. And of course, people say, "All right, what are these games?" I'm gonna show you this. So I think the best way, if I can share my screen, Mehrban, is just to go right into it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
share this screen here. So this is the course dashboard. Probably most people don't know about this website. It's just where my courses live. So unless you own a course, you probably don't know about these courses. But this course in particular, Pro Practice Secrets, that's where I want to enter this course because this is where a lot of the goodies reside. But while we're here, before we go deeper, I'm just going to tell you what's in this course. By the way, I'm going to show you lessons in here. You don't have to own this course right now. But if you do decide to buy the All Access Pass, I'm throwing in this course, which normally goes for 197 bucks. So here's how this course is laid out. We have a start here, just all these are lessons about my teaching systems around the same page. Then all my training games are around the 5 play situations, the first of which is serving. You only do 5 things ever when you play. Number 1 is serving. Number 2 is returning serve. See all these games are for that. Number 3 is baseline play. So these are all games for baseline. 4 is net play. So these are all games for that. And then the 5th thing is, passing shots and lobs. So those are the 5 things that you will ever do and nothing else. And then here, just so I think what I'm going to do, I wrote down which ones I want to get going on. So I'm going to start with some serving games. And these would be games I recommend you to play. Let's just go into the course here. So now we're inside. So everything is on the left, and this is the big thing. So I think the best way to do this is for me to kind of talk over this so it can go faster. So one of the serve drills you can do without a partner, or without a coach, without a group, is just, I call it the serve number game. And to do the serve number game, you need to know the serve ground targets. All right. So there's 6 targets from left to right. I'm just going to pause. So when you're serving, this is 1, 2, 3, and the ad court 4, 5, 6. So that's simple enough, right? And then the game that you would play is you start serving to number 1, and you try to go as much as you can until you hit target area 1. And then when you do, you move on to target area 2. Let me just go jumping forward here. Okay, so now so let's go back up because I want you to see him play. He's going for target 1 and he gets it. All right, so his total score is 1. Now he's aiming here in this area and he goes and he misses it. All right, so he's got 2, but he's still aiming at that same target, this one here. Okay, and so now he's racked up 3 serves and he's still stuck on this target area here. So he missed that. He should have been going here. So the point of this game is you do a little audit. It's a serve accuracy audit. Your goal, if we go back to here, you want to be able to, let's go right to here. You want to be able to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you do them all in a row, that's the perfect ultimate score. You got a 6, which is like really hard to do. Most people are going to be somewhere between 10 and 15. If you get over 20, just flush that game and start a new one. But this is the first game I always tell people, great for homework, great to play, because serving into an empty box with no targets and no scoring, I wouldn't recommend it. And now I'm going to do a slightly advanced version. So remember those as the ground targets. And now what I'm going to show you is, and we'll put these up here and we'll let them come up. So there you have the ground targets. But these back here, they are what I call sorry about that, my phone's going up. So let's pause right there. These are the ground targets again, but now at the baseline. Okay, so ground targets, so 1 is right behind 1, 2 is behind 2, so you see how that works. But when you serve, you can only serve into these 6, you don't serve into the alley. But when the ball exits, we call these the ground targets, these the exit targets, because when the ball exits from the baseline, that's really the more important thing. So you see, it could come over here, right? So we're going to keep adding. See, that's 0 because it could exit there. and way over here is going to be -1. All right, and then way over here on this side, on the left of the screen now, you can see 7 and 8. So when you put them all up, you can see that they're a little different. So let me pause. 6 ground targets, same 6 here, but 2 more here, 2 more here. That makes 10 exit targets. Where it lands is the ground target. Where it exits is the exit target. So if I hit a serve, I'm right-handed with a little spin, and it lands in 3, it's likely going to track and exit on 2, right? If I hit 1, it's probably going to, if I serve, it'll land in 1, but it'll probably exit 0 or -1. So these are good targets for the beginning. But as soon as you get 3, 5, or higher, I think you should be focusing more on these targets. So the way the game that I would teach you to do is just serve and just be aware. You're not even, just serve your shot, and then just right when it exits one of these targets, try to call it out so you get awareness. A couple things you should know. I'm going to see if I put them up here because they're pretty important. Here's what it looks like from ground level. Okay, so this is my wife Marty serving. I think I get the camera on the other side. Just let this go for a second. All right, so you can see that ball landed here. That's 2, but it crossed 0. See how that's lit up? So a lot of times, this is a classic thing. When the ball exits through 0, that's actually really good for the returner because all they have to do is just turn comfortably and hit it. So this is not a good exit target for me. 2 would be good because that's where people stand, or 1. So you got to really know the difference of the 2 types of targeting systems on the serve. So if you think of it this way, think of the ground targets as the most basic level. Okay, that was these here on the ground. This is the most basic level when you're starting out. You get those ground ones. Then you progress to these way, the ones at the baseline, if you will, which I call the exit targets. Okay. Then there's one more targeting system, which is now you're targeting when you serve, not anywhere on the ground, but you're targeting the strike zone of the opponent. So here's my wife, Marty. And when I serve to Marty, my serve is going to go through one of these targets, right? So, meaning Marty's going to be hitting in one of these. So these are the 4 strike zones. If I hit a kick serve, maybe I can get Marty to hit the ball up there above her shoulder. These are a little more comfortable. All right. So let me just keep going because a lot of people don't pay attention. I know almost every adult player at my club. If I say to them, would you serve Sally? What kind of strike zone is it giving your opponent? Like, where is it going out? And where, what are you giving them? And almost without exception, they go, I don't know. So I always draw this 3 and 2. I don't want, as a server, I don't want my ball going through these strike zones because these are the most comfortable strike zones for Marty or most players, right around the torso, waist, right thigh. Down here can be uncomfortable for her. Up high is uncomfortable. But unfortunately, 8 out of 10 serves cross the opponent right in here. So we don't realize that we're kind of measuring the wrong thing, Mehrban. So we serve and we go, oh, that was a great serve. And you don't realize, well, you sent it right into Marty's forehand strike zone 3, and she clubbed it. And then we start wondering, well, gosh, why ain't I any good? So those are the 3, things I would teach you to practice on your own. Obviously, we go in a lot more detail. There's a whole lot more here. But now I'm going to enter the return of serve area because that's the second play situation. The first little thing I want you to know is this Y theory. This is just my terminology. Basically, what I want people to understand is you can see it a little bit here, Mehrban. You see how there's a Y on the ground? Mm-hmm. Looks like an upside down Y. What the best returners do is when the opponent is, in their motion, they're creeping slowly up here. And right where the V is, that's where they split step. And then they go that way or this way. Notice it's not a T, it's a Y, because they keep, generally, the better players keep moving forward. They don't stop, they don't go backwards in their thing. So what you'll see is this guy here who's a really, really good player. He was a 14 UTR at one point. Me showing not a T. So let's watch him and just look at his simple footwork. He's got his rituals going, and watch how he will creep. Here he creep, boom, and there's kind of a Y. All right, he went to his right. But when he went to his right, he didn't retreat. Okay, so here's a slow motion view of that. Boom, and he went, boom. So he's getting some pre-movement out of it. He's moving before, in other words, he's not like dug his heels in flat-footed, and then the serve comes and he's trying to get out of the blocks. He's got some pre-movement, which helps him kind of quickly move in and out of position. So that's really the why theory. But what I really want to show you is this thing, because I want at a minimum you to practice two kinds of returns. I call them, for this is my language, the singles return and the doubles return. That's just my terminology. But basically, this is it. When you're returning in singles, generally speaking, there is a big swing and not as much as coming from the body. It talks about ratios in that lesson. But in other words, maybe in singles, your body forward momentum might give you 20%, and your swing gives you the other 80%. Whereas in doubles, it's actually the opposite. You got a lot more body, and the more body you have, maybe your body gives you 50% of the power. Then all you have to do is just keep nice and quiet with your hands and not kill it. So let's just watch a little bit, because this is a video I analyzed, so you'll see some differences here. Now, this is side by side, right? So remember, on the left is kind of a singles return. You can see he's creeping up in both examples, all right? Already on the right, what do you notice? He's further in, okay, because it's doubles. He's trying to get, hold the baseline and get the return back quicker, right? So now, boom. Now let's watch this. We're going to focus on this here. Look at his backswing size, the swing size of this thing. On this is the singles return. This is a two-handed backhand, so it's kind of compact already. You'll see how far it goes back, and you'll see that it's actually behind his body right here, okay? You can't see it any longer. His body's in the way. And maybe you can just barely see it peeking out over there. So it's a pretty good sight. Notice he didn't come in as much. So here, obviously, he's further in, so his body went further. And now, so consequently, look at that racket. It's not as far back as this racket, okay? So he's demonstrating side by side a singles return where you kind of don't do too much body and swing mostly with your hands. And this is the doubles compact return. And look at this. Let's keep focusing here now. He's going to hit. He's a really good player. Let's get going. Let's get going. Here it goes. Let's jump further ahead. Mehrban. Okay, now watch over here. The whole time, he never really even gets his racket behind him, comparatively. So he meets the ball out in front. Now, a lot of people will say, well, this return here is going to be harder. It's going to come back more miles per hour because they assume the swing did it. But this was taken early with a compact swing. Think Agassi. And it's not necessarily just because of the compact swing. The swing probably did less of the work, but the body did more of the work. Okay. So one of the big screw ups I see when it comes to serving is just not understanding that. They treat all, and really, whether you play singles or doubles, you should have both of these types of returns. Okay. On the second serve, if you struggle with weak second serves, which doesn't make sense, you would think they'd be easy. Sometimes they're a nightmare, and that's because these guys here, they treat it like this. They swing like a maniac instead of attacking it with their body. Okay. So that's kind of what I want to show you there. I don't want to go through the whole course. Obviously, it's like 3 hours long. So now when it comes to baseline, here's a couple things that I would say. Baseline play, I'm going to go, this is my favorite thing here, depth coding number 1. This one you can do with a partner, super easy, not hard at all. I'm going to make this big so you can see it even better. So when you ask players, first of all, let's get on the same page. This zones of the court, way up here, zone 1, is basically the service spot cut in half. So it's really close to the net. Zone 2 here, zone 2 is deep in the box. Zone 3 is behind no man's lane. Zone 4 is really deep in the box. And we even sometimes call this 5 and 6, which we won't use for this. So in general, people would say, yes, better, hit in zone 4 is better. Okay. which is generally true. But most people don't know. If I ask a student, where do you hit the ball? Where do most of your shots land? They have no clue. So this game is, we use it. It's called depth coding, and it's perfect for understanding, where you really are. So what's going to happen? I'm going to talk, but these players are saying out loud. I do have some good graphics here, so you'll see. Wherever it lands, you will hear them call the number. Okay. So watch on the near side. That landed in 2. See 2 right there? Okay. This was a 4. Now you can't hear them, but watch. 4. Yeah, they're calling it out. And this is what you would do. You would spar back and forth with your buddy, and each of you are calling what depth zone the ball lands. Okay. So here's what generally happens, Mehrban. Most people, when you ask them, where do you think it lands? Like, oh, I think I've hit pretty good. I think most of my shots land in zone 3 and zone 4. Okay. And then they do this game, and overwhelmingly they understand, wow, most of my shots land in 2 and 3. Very few land back here. Remember, these guys are a pretty high level play. So, and if you say, okay, what's the single most common place that the ball lands? Without a doubt, I've done this little presentation and on the court, literally in multiple continents. And without a doubt, it always lands mostly in 3. That for 99.9% of players, most of the depth zones, the most common depth is in this zone right here, this 3. Okay. So keep that in mind, because that's a great game. Do that game because it gives you purpose. It gives you something to think about. And it'll help measure your, your depth. Depth coding number 2, I'm just going to tell you about it. It's so right now when this is 3, see that? This guy hit it and it landed 3. So this guy here is telling him 3. But the other version is where this gentleman would hit the ball, and when it lands over there, then he calls it. So now he's paying attention to the far side of the court, mainly his own shot. Okay. Here's another great game that helps with timing. It's old school for sure, but if people ask me what's your favorite game that helps get something groovy, I would say this is it. So what's going to happen is you're going to rally back and forth. And for this one, I am going to turn up the audio just for a second, because right when the ball bounces, let's talk about this guy. When the ball bounces on his court, he says bounce. Okay. Or I'm sorry, let me just play because I'm talking over myself. Bounce, hit. Bounce, hit. I'm doing my side here. Bounce, hit. Bounce, hit. Okay, so that will kind of, if you're mistiming that, then you probably know your timing and your ground stroke system is good. A little slightly more advanced version of this is called split bounce hit, which means right when this guy hits, he's going to call out split and actually do a split step. So let me call that out for you. It would be split, bounce, hit. Split, bounce, hit. Let me mute this. Okay, split, bounce, hit. Watch this guy. Split, bounce, hit. So you always say split when the other guy goes, because that's when you should be splitting. Corny drill, I literally learned it in the 70s, and still, when I get on the court, that one is super, super helpful. This little drill here is clever. It's kind of cooperative drill, another one you do with your buddy. So what happens is the 2 players rally back and forth, and there's a two sequences, right? The first ball is you rally and you try to set a baseline. Okay, so the most that you can get is 6. Okay, so watch these guys. This is cooperative. 1, 2, they're going to do it again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, they stop. Okay, actually it was 5 because he missed it. So that was a cooperative version. The very next point, every other, is now the competitive. So they're going to play a point for real, and whoever wins it wins 5 points because the previous point said it. So the odd number, 1, 3, 5, that just is cooperative and it sets the total. No more than 6. If you reach 6, you just stop. So you practice going from steady for a while and then aggressive for a while, then steady for a while, then aggressive for a while. It's called every other. It's super helpful. I think it's one of my favorite. All right, shifting to net play. Without a doubt, Cuban Davis Cup is my go-to game. So Cuban Davis Cup it's a great one for you and your buddy to work out. So I'm going to just go to where it's showing. Oh, I did something bad there. Okay, so let me just set this thing up. Marty, this is my wife, Marty. We got the court divided in halves, right? Do side and I put a line right here. So if I go back just a little bit, you can see that Marty launches from the service line, sometimes baseline, whatever, and she goes in. Right when it bounces, she goes in. She plays it out cross court only, so the lines help. Right now, watch. Now they go to the ad court, and Marty's on that side, or Marty's here, right from about the blue line. Boom, and they take off. Take off when the ball bounces. So here's the, I'm just going to mute it and let it go for a while. Here's the magic of this game. When it comes to volleys, most people don't have enough touches on the ball, Mehrban. What I mean is, they need hundreds of volleys in live practice, not just off a ball machine. And this drill is designed to do it because if you play this game for an hour with both people attacking for a while, each player ends up hitting over 400 volleys. If you play doubles, I've done the math. 1 hour of doubles, each player averages 24 volleys. So it's literally like 20 times more volleys. So if your touches on the ball are that much more up, clearly your volleys are going to improve. If you're going with another 3-5 and you're trying to get to 4-0 and they're trying to get to 4-0, he's hitting 400 volleys a week, you're hitting 28, the writing's on the wall. It's going to be really tough to deal with that. Here's one called Bum Rush. I'm going to show you this game, another game that you could do for sure with yourself. By the way, that last game, you can play a whole set that way. It's really kind of fun. So Bum Rush is this. I'll just kind of jump out here. See if I can get it to the right thing. So this is one of my coaches here. They feed the ball comes back quickly. Review. You feed the ball, you let it come back and bounce, and no matter what, you gotta go. All right. So see how he messed it up. So now he just goes again. All right. Feeds and go. So in this game, real simple. I feed, you hit it back, I must let it bounce, and then I have to go in. So if the ball is really deep, it's going to be hard to go in. You may not want to, but that's when you're going to have to learn this kind of technique where you're shortening it and going forward. Let's jump a little bit more out to the front. So watch this. Boom, and here he goes. That was a good example. He was leaning in, didn't take the biggest backswing, but he got in. So by making the rule that you have to let it bounce and then transition in, I don't want him to feed and run in right now. Okay, this is how a lot of people practice their volley because it'll be easy. Okay, I want him to have to earn his way in. As a matter of fact, he's got to come in no matter what. So even if this ball coming back landed right there and hard, normally in a match you wouldn't come in. Well, for this drill, you have to come in. All right, so watch what he gets. Go, and then he goes in. So you can see he's already adjusting and leaning in and coming in. Play that game for 20 minutes with each person doing that rule, where you have to come in, let it bounce, and go. And you'll be amazed how your transition, volleys, your touches on transition. Here's Nate. Boom. Okay, so see, it wasn't the biggest swing, but he had a lot of body momentum. Right? So we call that Bum Rush 1. It's really good. Here's a drill that you can do with a buddy. It's kind of basic. I remember, Mehrban, when I hit a swing volley when I was a kid, my coach yelled at me. He thought this is like a low percentage show up that. But a swing volley is so, like, watch what happens here. This guy feeds it. This guy has to loop it back, and then my guy has to go in and intercept it with a swing volley. So again, remember what I said a drill was? It's a piece of a match. And then you play it out cross courts. Okay? Now they go to the other corner. Remember, the feed is deep. The return of the feed is a lob. So he lobs it back, move in, must take a swing volley, and then you duke it out. So again, all we're doing is taking pieces of a match, a skill. Maybe you say, I want to have a swing volley. My swing volley is not good. Well, you can't just read a book about it. You got to set up a situation where you're hitting tons and tons of swing volleys. Right? I can tell you and maybe help you a little bit, but unless you go out and do a ton of them, you're not going to get better. So it just kind of follows the logic of what a drill is and how you practice. By the way, this is a lot more similar to what you see at the U.S. Open or any pro tournament on the practice courts. There's not 6 guys running around doing the overhead game. This is more of a training game. Okay, last category. This is, and then we're going to open up some questions here. The over-under volley, okay? So when it comes to passing shots, most people they're measuring the wrong thing. Okay, so I'm going to go forward here. This game is excellent. You got to try this game, guys. So you go out and you get one person at the baseline, like this guy's at the baseline, this guy's at the net. And what we're going to do is the net guy is every time he volleys, he's going to say over or under. Okay, so watch this guy here. Actually, I'll turn off the volume. Listen to the volleyer, because if his volley point of contact is above the net, he's going to say over. And if it's below the net, he's going to say under. So let's just listen for a couple. Under. Under. Okay, good. This is just cooperative hitting here. Under. Over. Okay, under. Okay, keep going. You get it? It's just point of contact. That's over. Kind of over. Over. I can see a difference in your passing. So what do you think is the problem here? I'll guarantee you what's going to happen. Most players, the passer here, he's measuring the quality of his passing shot based on two things. Did I hit it hard, and did it go in? And I propose that that's wrong. That's not the best way to do it. Really, if this guy is doing his job well, this volleyer is going to constantly be saying under, 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 under. But when you do this, guarantee you 70% of your shots are going to be over, 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 because these people don't do a good enough job. Imagine Rafa doing this to you. Rafa has so much topspin, he could dip it at your feet like constantly, be a nightmare. But Rafa is smart enough to know that sometimes I hit hard and pass, but a lot of times I just let the ball dip at his feet. He pops it up, and then I come up and I smash the second one. So that's called over-under. Both players should take some time in the net. This guy has to audibly say it, so this guy's getting the feedback. Beautiful, one of my all-time favorite games for net play, passing shot, slots. Okay, here's one. Most people don't know how to practice their lob. I say, how do you practice your lob? He goes, I don't know, get a ball machine or someone lobs me. So this is a more realistic game. So you notice I have my lines here. Remember zone 1, zone 2. Over there, zone 1, zone 2. So this game is played cross court. This is the net guy. This is the baseliner. What happens is the net guy feeds the ball with his feet inside that zone. You see how his feet are in zone 1? He can't cheat. As soon as the ball bounces here on this side, which is right there, now he can release. And this guy here must lob the first ball. And then you play it out. Okay, now you go to the ad court. So real quickly, feed must be from here. He must stay there until the ball bounces. He must lob. And then you play it. Lob coming, play it out. So you can see all we're doing in this drill. If you do this drill for a half an hour, I like to play in a cross court, by the way. You're going to hit more overheads in a half hour than you might literally in a whole month of practicing, because overheads aren't quantity. You don't hit hundreds of overheads in a match. All right. So if your overhead's weak and you're saying, well, I'll just keep playing, you're not going to get enough touches on the ball to really move the dial. So this game is one of my favorite ones. And of course, I have lots of players at my club that feel like they choke overheads. Their lobs aren't very good. So this game addresses both of those things in a scoring method. There's, it's competitive. So I love it. It's one of my favorite games. And without doubt, what will happen is lobs start improving. Even like sometimes within 20 minutes, you can see, it's not uncommon that the lob in the beginning is just horrible. Okay. And the net guy's just pounding the way. And if you've got a nervous net guy, he might choke a lot of overhead. So here's the lob, and you duke it out. Okay, these are Division I players, by the way. They both played at Western Michigan, which is a good school. Okay, so there you have it. That's called Lobster, another game in this course. But you can do it tomorrow if you want. The other thing I'm going to just point out is singles. I have these cool little clever games, one-on-one singles, and this is the doubles version. So in each module, like let's just say it's singles, and you want to practice some singles related skills, you would come here, and the first thing you do is you download this. This is your scoreboard. This is your score sheet. So let's say that I am with Mehrban. Him and I are going to go work out. So we're going to print this, and we're going to go play these games. But the question is, like, what the heck what's one-on-one singles? What's one-on-one doubles? So the games is what I teach you in the module. So the first game, one-on-one singles, do side, There's the video. Okay, you're going to learn it, and then you'll have that. So you can watch this one time and then go do those games. And then this over here is simply a very similar but slightly modified games because it's more of a doubles workout. There's more net and there's more passing shots and stuff like that and transition volleys than the previous one. Okay, and then the last thing that's in this is just groups. If you ever, you can show these to your coaches. But so I've been doing a lot of talking and just before I kind of stop sharing my screen. By the way, this course, if you were to go to my website, you would find it under courses. This is the one you're talking about. And if you were to buy it, it's selling right now for $197. So Mehrban and I are going to throw this in. If you decide if you want to upgrade to the all access pass before tomorrow's deadline, I'm going to throw in this course for everybody that uses my link, and I think it should be really helpful. But even if you don't, I know obviously not everybody's going to do that. I just want you to think a little bit about your practices, and are you only practicing with a coach and with a group? I do think that should be part of it, but I don't think that should be all of it. So even if you try a couple, 3, 4 of these games the next week, you get a partner. Obviously, if you get the course, you'll have access to all of it. But I found that to be super helpful and move the dial for my players. So I'm assuming we may have some questions, Mehrban, but I'll shut up for a while.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jorge. Just fantastic stuff. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. There we go. So one question that we had is, let's see. So Dawn, I think this might have been the first drill. Dawn asks, would -1 be a bad exit target? It seems like that would take them out wide and be good.
Yeah, so let me go back. Exit target is generally a good one. Okay, so let's, so shoot, I had it right here. Let's go back to here and let's pause. Okay, so right here, -1 is, that means the ball bounced somewhere in the box and it's cleared way out here. This would be a great one.
Jorge, sorry, sorry to interrupt you, Jorge. Can you put that back up? I wasn't able to get it.
Yeah. No, I realized I stopped sharing. So let me,
there we go.
So here's the exit targets again, and she's asking about -1. This would be a great thing. If you can make the ball, it's going to bounce up here somewhere, likely 1. If it exits through -1, that's a hell of a serve. Because remember, most people are going to line up right here, right behind zone 1 to receive. And if you have, my concern is when all my students, how many times the ball exits through 0. If I'm standing right here and that ball exits through 0, it's an easy forehand. You're not running me. But if you make me scoot 4 or 5 steps to my right, or maybe even more, that's a great return. But you'll be surprised. I do these audits all the time with our players where I just kind of, and our college team will serve right-handers, and you'll be shocked how many, 7 out of 10 balls exit 0, which is exactly what you don't want to do. If this guy has a good forehand, you're literally setting them up like the human ball machine to just have a great day. And they're like, well, I hit here. I don't really care what happens here. What really matters is what happens here, because this is where the ball is hit by your opponent. So yeah, -1 would be good. 8 would be good. Same thing on the backhand, by the way. If your ball lands, and remember, people will line up right around 6. The returner will stand right behind 6. And if you make it go exit 7, it's just a simple turn and a backhand crush for most people. So that's a good question, but I think that would be a good exit point, -1.
Excellent. Thank you, Dawn. So let's see. This next question is from Christy. Yes. So Christy asks, should the returner come in closer on the server's second serve to create more pressure on the server?
Yeah, so let me go back. I'm going to share my screen again, because what we were talking about there is we're in the area of this Y. Actually, I did the side by side. So so here's what I think happens. Now, you can find examples of this totally different, right? So these guys are about to make contact. Here's the ball already. Totally different body postures. He's back here. He's well behind the baseline. Here, he's come in. Part of being in is what I call positional intimidation. If you come in and you get all this body momentum and you still have a giant swing like this side, the timing on that is brutal and you miss a lot. So the key is this, in this lesson, I talk about the ratios. 80% of the power here comes from the swing, only a little bit from the body, 20%. Here it's almost, at least 50-50. A lot of body, but along with a lot of body, a lot of forward movement comes a shorter backswing. If you can kind of think of those ratios and keep them square. Now, not to mention, if I am the incoming server, and let's say I'm serving and volleying, I want this because the ball's gonna go further. It's gonna have to come back further, and I'm gonna have more time. If this guy is taking the ball early, you can see if I jump ahead, he's taken his point of contact on the right here. Let me get to it. He's inside the baseline. This is 5 or 6 feet behind the baseline. So the ball's already traveling 5 feet that way, 5 feet more. That's 10 feet extra travel. So this guy, even though he may have a more compact swing, it could be a more deadly swing. It'll get back up to the other side quicker. The net guy won't have as much time to poach as he would off of this guy. So it's definitely a type of return that you want to add to your arsenal. I call it singles, doubles, but to be honest, I use both. If I'm playing singles and I have a certain volleyer, I might do this more. And if I'm playing doubles and no one comes in, I might be doing this. So you really want them both, in my opinion.
Got it. Perfect. Let's see what else we got here. Crassy Tennis Highlights. Hello. Hello to you too. So live in tennis. In singles, when does the returner chip the return? And first serve, second serve.
Yeah, so in my opinion, it depends a little bit on the player. So I will tend to chip the return when I want my return to go back short. Okay, so let me see if I can pull up something here. If I have it, yeah, let me share my screen here. All right. We'll go along here and see if I have this as a slide here. Yeah, right here. So think of these, Mehrban, as return targets. Okay, so the returner's over there and you're hitting it back this way. This is just my targeting system for them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we call the alley 5, the alley 6. Right. So you're saying to me, I teach my players to hit chip or to underspin it when they want to let the ball come back. You don't always want your return to go back deep, right? That's where the person is. And if you're playing someone that stinks at the net, then having them come up here would be great. But you got to hit it short. And to me, I've had a lot more success teaching people to hit the return purposely short if they're using underspin. If they take a same old big old swing and then they try to hit it short, they have to use massive topspin, and it's just harder, I think, for most people. So that's one. So I think the chip comes in when you want to purposely hit it short, and then secondly, it's just on a per case basis. Like on my forehand, I'm never going to chicken out. Okay, I can rip it, I can do anything with it. But on my backhand, if I'm a little nervous or if I'm dealing with a lot of power, I gotta want to hit a backhand. So I may just play it safe and borrow the power and chip it there or hit slice. Slice is a family of shots. There's a slice, there's a lob that's a slice, there's a drop shot that's a slice, there's a chip that's a slice. They're all words in the underspin category. So hopefully that answers that. But that's kind of what I've had good success with as a player and also teaching my people. But I do think that you should have in your arsenal should be a chip return. If you don't have that, every good player, watch the pros, they're doing it. Roger chips his return constantly, so it's a legit play.
Perfect. And yeah, he just said a follow-up. Sorry if he or she, but live in tennis had a follow-up of many times I find the opponent finishes it. So how could he adjust his chip then, do you think?
Yeah, so it seems to me if that's happening, likely what I'm envisioning is that underspin is kind of almost like a bad drop shot. Okay, so it sits up. So you would want to practice, and probably I would practice having someone serve to me from the service line on the other side, just easy serve so I can get the hang of it. But what you send back is, so when I slice and I'm aiming deep, I call that a slice. When I slice and I'm aiming middle of the court, maybe around the service line, like a return, I call that a chip. And when I slice and I'm aiming in zone 1, which is that really short, that's a drop shot. Okay. So probably what I would say, if you're slicing or chipping and they're coming up and smashing it, that speaks to me that your face is a little too open. You're hitting like a poor drop shot versus a chip shot. A chip is not high. It kind of, you send it back kind of low and maybe a little bit short. So when they get there, they're definitely going to have to play something underneath net level, which is usually a good sign for us. So yeah, I would just practice it more.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Jorge. We definitely have some more questions here.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, Nick, what is a good drill to build rally tolerance? Thanks, guys.
So yeah, I love this. I mean, there's a whole debate about whether you should play long rallies, and we know
Hmm.
through Craig's great research that the average rally length at all levels, all skill levels, pros and everything, is about 4 shots.
Hmm.
It's under 4 shots. So um, to build tolerance, this is what I say. The way I was taught to build consistency was really ancient. The coach would say, "Okay, guys, Mehrban and Jorge, partner up, go for 100 balls." Okay, and oof, it was horrible. First of all, that literally never happens ever in a match.
Yeah.
Secondly, you and I probably aren't having fun. Thirdly, it promotes pushing because we're getting nervous about stuff. So a much, much better way is to say, look, guys, a 6 ball rally would be a really mature, long rally. So what I want you to do, Mehrban and Jorge, is just set that as your goal. If you could get 6 balls in the court, so that's 3 me, 3 you, that's a rally of 6. That's going to be a hell of a shot. At the point, probably don't even need that because we know statistically we'll shot. So what I would do is I instead of going for 100, you and I would go for 6. Okay, if we get it, we stop. We scored a point, and then we try to do that 10 times, and then maybe we can race the other players on the court to see how many times. As soon as we get a rally of 6, boom, we score. Feed another one, rally of 6 again, boom, we got 2 of those now, and we race up to 10 successes. Way, way better. I was guilty of the day early coaching careers of just saying, all right, guys, you got to, and then just having people go for 50 balls in a row even. Totally boring. I don't know why I did it because I was a victim of having it shoved down my throat. But nonetheless, that's kind of what's up.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Jorge. Appreciate that. Another drills question, predictably. This one from Mike G. Mike's asks, do you have some good games slash drills that a player can do without a practice partner besides hitting baskets of serves to the exit targets?
Yeah, obviously it's a little harder, but a couple things. If someone came to me and said, "I want to practice tomorrow," I call all my friends. I got an hour. I want to be productive. What can I do? I'm all by myself. Well, hopefully you don't have to do that because I really think a two-person practice is way better. But let's just say that's what you got. So now you're limited, right? You got ball machine, you got wall, and you got basically serve. Those are the things you can do. So what I would probably do is set up the ball machine. I think that's a little more realistic. The wall is still super good, and I think a lot of people, I don't know, I think in America people think the wall is like, but like that's not an official. Every good player plays in the wall. Even Federer. Remember that thing that Federer released during
Yeah,
the shutdown when he was hitting off the wall in the freaking snow and he's
yeah,
hitting off the wall doing all these trick shots?
yeah.
Guarantee you guys, Roger hit on the wall a lot when he was growing up. So that's a
Hmm.
great way because it doesn't miss. What I like about the modern ball machines is you can kind of program them so you kind of do some point choreography. You get deep balls, short balls, and maybe you finish on the fifth ball or something like that. But I would do that. That's really the only options. And then serving, make sure when you serve, I remember serving. I struggled practicing my serve on my own when I was young because the only thing I knew to do was just take a bucket of balls and serve into an empty box. Totally boring. I never set up targets. I didn't know to. I didn't have a scoring system. I didn't know how to do that. So it was just boring. But if you put there's a whole bunch of them in that course that tells you how you can practice. Just the targeting system alone and getting some feedback, like, wow, when I did those ground targets, I can't hit target 6. Well, if you learn that in that game, that's a win because target 6 is most people's backhand. Chances are you want to friggin' address that, but you may not know that until you do that game. So those are the 3 things I would do for sure.
Thanks, Jorge. And again, I really, really appreciate this, Jorge. With you throwing in the free bonus course, which if you go to Jorge's website right now, it costs $197 to get. So this is going to be totally free if you get the all access pass using Jorge's link, which I shared in the chat, and also it is on the page, the stream page, at least the summit one. So huge value there. That's really amazing stuff. So Live in Tennis asks, while serve and volley and serve plus one are both effective, which one would you recommend for juniors when to use both?
So I kind of view tennis tactics as customizable to the situation. So I used this analogy the other day of a football play. So I would very much like to have my junior or anybody have a serve and volley that they can actually do, not just know about it, but can actually deploy it and not mess up every time.
Mm-hmm.
Serve plus one, where they serve and they're hunting for their strongest shot, and they know the geometry of what will make them get more of their better shot. But then it's case by case. So if I'm playing Mehrban and it's 4-4 and it's add out, maybe I don't serve and volley because for that play it's a little too risky because I don't normally serve volley. But maybe a better play there would be to serve and hunt for my favorite shot because I'm more comfortable. I was just at a tournament, or not a tournament, a high school match. Last week I was in Orlando, and one of my friends, his boy was playing a high school match. And I haven't seen this boy play. He's good. He's like an 11 UTR. He's hitting kick serves, and the kick serves are amazing. It's constantly forcing the opponent way up into the side, and people are getting it back because their other person was an 11 too. But it's definitely coming back weak. And it dawned on me, you know what? My friend here, he has this great kick serve, and he's getting all these weak responses, but he wasn't coming in ever with a serve volley. And lo and behold, right when I was telling the dad, he comes in and he does a serve volley off a kick serve. It was match point. Right. So it's all wins. But the point is, he can serve and volley. He has it in his arsenal. It's usable. And then it's just like win. So in that scenario, when you see that happening, it's like I'm successfully getting the kick serve into strike zone 4. He's having weak returns. Options. Now I can play this play because it's going to work because of what's happening.
Awesome. Thanks, Jorge. Let's see here. So another question here from Live in the summit or during the summit, Dr. Kovacs said the slice serve is more effective, and so did Peter Freeman. So what is Jorge's view on which should be first and second serve?
I guess to me, it depends a little bit. Again, I say depends a lot, but I kind of feel it. So a
Sure.
slice serve is the most common serve, and I think it could be the most deadly. Um, the flat serve, the big bomber, the reality is a very small percentage of tennis players in the world have a bomber that's so deadly that if you get it in, it's almost a sure to point. As like Isner, okay? Isner is a freak. So he's so tall and he's so good, and his first serve by itself, he doesn't have to worry about their opponent returning poorly. He just says, screw it, I'm just going to hit my best weapon because it works against everybody. Most of us don't have that. Okay, so I think you got to be a little more crafty about it. What I don't like is so many players just come up, and I say this for mostly guys, I guess, but it happens when with the girls I coach, is they just default like, well, my first serve is hard and my second one is safe. And I'm like, says who? Why isn't your second one, your first serve safe once in a while, and you're throwing off timing? I really don't think that tennis servers pitch. They kind of just serve. Where I look at it as a pitch. I'm throwing. If my first serve, let's say it's 100 miles an hour, and I shouldn't have all my first serves be within 5 miles of that. Should be 97, 99, 101, 107. You got to have a little wider. Pete Sampras, in my opinion, would hit first serves. He could hit them as high as 138, and I saw him hit first serves at 100. So it's like 40-mile-an-hour difference, which means he's throwing changeups. He's messing with people's timing inside the one serve. Second serve, he does the same thing. I think most people, if you hit their first serves, they're all packed together. They're all within 5 miles an hour of each other, and all their second serves, whatever the miles per hour are, they're all within 5 miles of each other. So you're like the ball machine. People can groove on that. Imagine if a pitcher in baseball just threw, hey, I can throw 100. Like every pitch is 100. It won't take long, and he's having a really bad day. You can't do that. So same thing in serving is you got to think of it, in my opinion, more as a server. But I do think, the first serve I want that my person to learn is a slice serve. That's the
Yeah.
first serve I would teach someone.
Yeah, it's great to hear that because I definitely agree with Dr. Kovacs and Peter and yourself on that point, and had that as one of my top 10 lessons a few days ago. So, Jorge, I guess one question from me is, and I don't know if you want to show the drills screen or not, but I was curious as to like how would you approach constructing a practice for yourself, given all the great drills that you have inside this course.
Yeah, so I will kind of show my screen here and see if I can get back to where that was. So here we are in that course, right? So one of the things that the course itself is kind of set up how I would recommend you practice. In other words, every time you step, well, I run practices for groups right now. And we have this thing at my club called the promise, quote unquote. And the promise basically says if you come and take a practice at my club, okay, you are gonna, the guarantee, our promise is that you will practice serves. Let's say it's a 2 hour after school class, a 2 hour, whatever, USTA league team, whatever. So we're going to practice serves. We're going to practice returns. We're going to practice some baseline play and some net play and some passing shots and lobs. That's the guarantee. Every time you step foot on the court, that's what you practice. What I notice is sometimes when people hit with each other, they either play. Okay, remember, play is good, but if every single thing you do for extra practice is just simply match play, we already know there's some flaws. There's only 12 minutes of actual play in an hour. So training games are better. Think of what the pros do. Many of you have seen the pros at a live tournament and you go hang out by the practice courts. It looks very different than what happens at your club with your groups. Okay. I still think groups are fine. I would never say they're not because I make a living on that. But you have to have some of this other training, and no one seems to do it. How to give you tons of ideas and games. And if you do nothing else, this little thing here, these workouts actually have everything built into them, right? So if you go here, and this is just the score sheet, you can see what you're doing. This first game, it's a baseline play. It's a baseline game, baseline game. This one is a net game. This is a net game. This is a baseline and net. So you can see I planned it out that way as well. But this is what everybody should do, in my opinion. You go out there, you put an hour and a half in, you practice a little bit of everything. And maybe if you have a certain goal, like, hey, I got to fix my transition game or whatever, maybe put a little extra time in the net and transition area, then now you're on point. And I think you can definitely, get a lot out of that.
Beautiful. Thanks for that, Jorge. Let's sneak in another question here real quick. So Jim asks, I have a lot of trouble with high sitters. I hit with extreme Western grip and it's tough to time it right. I'm trying to shift to an Eastern grip to hit my forehands cleaner. Any advice on switching? So not quite the strategy realm, but if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I do for sure. So we're talking a technical change in your stroke right now. And I can tell you as a coach, one of the harder things, I don't want this to sound like that, dude. One of the harder things for people to do is switch from a full Western grip to an Eastern grip. When they first do it, they start hitting the ball over the fence. I mean, they're just sailing it because you have so much memory, muscle memory built in that other grip. If you have a full Western grip, the chances are your point of contact is higher. It's more in front because it's built for that. And now you switch grips, and now everything has to change. So I want you to think of tennis as a open and closed sport. Tennis is generally an open sport, but as you're learning, when you're in learning mode, you narrow it down. So if you were coming to my club tomorrow for a lesson, here's probably, and you're say, hey, I need a private lesson on, I got this grip and I gotta learn this grip. Okay, so I probably watch a little bit, then I say, okay, let's get that new grip, and I would close it way down. I'd probably literally hand pitch you balls from 5 feet away. Okay, pretty far away from a match. Okay, so you think of an hourglass. The more open it is, the more it's like a match. The close it is, the less it's like a match. So I would start you nice and closed. Okay, then what I would do is say, okay, you seem to be doing that pretty good, Mehrban. Let me back up and feed you some balls. Okay, so it's a little bit further away. It's kind of closer to a match, so it opens up the skill a little bit. And if that went well, I would say, okay, let's rally cooperatively. So now it's opening it up even more. Okay, and you're getting closer to what a match is. And let's say right there you start stinking. Let's close it back up. So a good coach will open and close, open and close. And as long as you're doing good, they're going to keep open it. But let's say Mehrban's catching on quickly and we spar and we do a little bit of sparring and then it's still going. Okay, now let's play. Let's play a point. Okay, not cooperative. Hey, still doing pretty good. Let's add a scoreboard. As soon as it screws up, well, let's go back a step. What most people do, and this is what kills them, is they want to make a technical change and they go wide open. I'm going to go play my friend in a match right now with my new forehand, and it goes south, and they get mad. So be careful when you're in training mode. There's learning mode, there's training mode, and there's competition mode. Okay, when you're learning a new shot like that, I would describe that as a learning thing. So I would stay away from putting scoreboards on it. Gets lots of touches, got a ball machine, lots of dead ball, lots of people feeding you until you kind of feel it. Then you open it up slowly. What does this feel like if I spar with my buddy? Oh, horrible. Okay, you need more ball machine. Close it up. Okay, it feels good again. Now let's spar. All right, not too bad. Now let's play. Oh, horrible. Go back to sparring. So it's just this art of opening and closing the skill so that eventually you get it to mature and you can use it in a match.
Love it. Thanks a lot, Jorge. Let's see. Still got some more if you have time. So, hey, Kimoon. So he asks, Kimoon asks, do pros ever use ball machines? Do you have any unique ball machine drills that might be helpful?
Yeah, I think pros do use ball machines. I mean, you're not going to see a pro whip out a ball machine at a practice court at the U.S. Open, but I think a lot of pros own ball machines for their home courts. I've kind of heard about that. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't seen footage of it, so I can't prove it, but I'm pretty sure a lot of them, do have ball machines. Also, it's shocking to me how many times you go to the U.S. Open or the Cincinnati tournament here in the Midwest, and I saw this was a Cincinnati, Serena, number one player in the world, and between shots, her coach was feeding her from the hand and from 5 feet away. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people would say, I'm too good for that. What are you doing? This is freaking number one player of all time. Because she was in a closed environment. Her forehand, she wasn't happy with it the previous match, so he was just trying to groove it out. I've seen people feeding out of a box of, an empty or half-empty box of dead balls, cardboard box, and they're feeding, and they're number two player in the world, just being fed balls, like a ball machine would do. So I think that's part of it. And then as far as games, I would just I like the ball machines that can be programmed because you can kind of do, I call it point choreography. You can, hit a forehand, hit a wide forehand, hit a slice, and then get a short ball and put it away. That's similar to a point. But if you don't have one that's programmable, I would make sure to go really hard for 5 to 7 seconds and then take a break. And then really hard for 5 to 7 seconds and take a break.
Yeah.
I mean, really go balls out like you're tired for 5 seconds. You're going to be wasted, right? Because that simulates the rhythms of a tennis match. Okay.
Right.
I see a lot of people the day before a match. I got a big match, man. Got my state championships tomorrow, and they go out here 1 hour of ball machine, and their body's like, we're not doing this tomorrow. This is going to be so up and down. Tomorrow, my heart rate's going to be like this, and tonight it's like this.
Yeah.
Because I'm just grooving. So be careful.
So huge. I mean, I used to get in that trap too. And, just talking to great coaches like yourself reminds me that you need to really mirror how you're going to be playing in matches with that short bursts of practice. So, or points rather. So let's see. Dan, would you recommend practicing strengths over improving weaknesses?
Yeah, this is a raging debate in the tennis pro community. I think there's good pros, smart ones that will say, as long as your weaknesses aren't glaring, you really want to keep working on your strengths. And other pros will say, no, your strengths are going to always be there. Take the weaker areas and bring them up. So my personal view is I'm going to work on my strengths, but then I'm going to take an audit of my student Mehrban. If there's any weakness, there's a difference between a weakness and something that's weaker. Like, Rafa's backhand is weaker than his forehand just because his forehand's off the chart. Frankly, so is his backhand. But you would have to say people would probably guess his forehand's even better. Okay, so if that's better, that means his backhand's weaker. But no one would label it weakness. Okay, so if something's always going to be weaker, But if it's a weakness, it hurts you, it costs you matches, it's a liability, that I will try to bring up. I'm not going to take my backhand, for example, and say it's got to become a strength. I just got to make it not a weakness, just make it something neutral. And then I'm going to take my forehand, which is my strength, and keep taking that to the moon. So that's my personal view of it. Um, no glaring weaknesses. You can have weaker sides. My backhand's definitely weaker than my forehand, and my baseline play is definitely weaker than my net play. Um, but if my baseline play is a weakness, it's a liability, then I got to address that first. So
Yeah, I love it.
that's how I view it.
Yeah, that's a great view. I share it. Linda has a very clever question. Hey, Linda, what is a question you wish we would ask, and what would you answer?
Well, I think probably what I enjoy teaching the most is when I can get a student of mine to have a breakthrough on the strategy area, or just that whole area, or mental, something the soft skills, if you will. Um, that's so much more fun because tennis is such a weird thing. We're all trying to acquire these beautiful, shiny strokes that are great, and there's so many people that are on this total addiction to try to get, like a really better forehand and perfect technique, and they're winning the race to the wrong finish lines. At the end of their career, they're kind of like, man, I took $6 billion of lessons and I got these beautiful strokes. They don't hold up in a match, because I don't know when to use them and I don't know how to, sabotage the other opponent if they're playing good. I just, I only can think about raising my level instead of, lowering the other guy's level, which is a whole nother paradigm of how to think. So I think that's the part that's fun. Tennis is kind of like a chess match at 90 miles an hour. If you're planning points and you're thinking 2 shots ahead and even 2 points ahead, you're playing chess. But most tennis is played as checkers. It's just like, hey, what's that? Oh, you did that? Okay, I'll do this. It's everything into planning. And even when Rafa hits, every shot Rafa hits has got a purpose. He's trying to, for years he would hit loopy balls to Federer's backhand, hoping that Roger would take it up high and it would push Roger back. And next thing you know, Roger's Roger. He's not going to miss it, but it's going to come back with a little shortness. And then all of a sudden, Rafa's inside the court and he pummels it down your throat. That was set up 4 or 5 shots ahead of time as a plan. It was like a plan going into the court. And before they even walked on the court, it was a plan. Probably if they play tomorrow, that will still be the plan. Because that's the one he uses against, Fed. Yeah, so it's really, the cerebral part. That's what I always loved about tennis is you know, the guy with the best strokes doesn't always win. As a matter of fact, the guy with the best strokes, they only win like half the time in my experience. So it's so fun when you can find ways to win when you don't have the pretty strokes or the best strokes. You don't. Maybe the other guy, maybe Mehrban can do 7 things better than but I got just these 2 things that I do better. And today I was able to get Mehrban to do those. I win. And if you're on the receiving end of that, it's the nightmare. Like, how can I lose to Mehrban? All he can do is moonball. But today I ended up moonballing with him for some damn reason, and now I lost. So it's really interesting, and that's why I love it.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks a lot, Jorge. Yeah, just so many nice comments. Jorge surprises with his depth and every time new views. Let's see what else. So Linda, thanks so much. I so appreciate you and what you bring to us all. You're simply the best. I love the mental aspects, and it has made such a huge difference in my game. And then 4 emojis. Love that. Thanks, Linda. I agree. Let's see. Dan, thank you, Jorge. You always rock. So, yeah, Jorge, I wonder. Oh, actually, we did get another question, if you don't mind. So, Jim, good question. Any good drills to practice high sitters and put away shots?
Yeah. So to me, if that's a skill that I want to work on, remember a drill is just a piece of a match. So, and I have that. I have kids who, they're not good when they get sitters. Somehow they're worse. It's a chokeable shot, and they kind of get nervous. So I'm just going to either set up a ball machine or I'm going to feed it. The phrase I want you to always think about is touches on the ball. Ball count matters. Tattoo that in your brain. Ball count matters. So if you have a problem area, high backhand sitters, you don't put them away well, you have to hit thousands of those. So you got to find a mechanism, a drill, a coach, a ball machine, somebody to help you put yourself in that environment. So like, hey, Mehrban, this is your problem. So in the next 2 weeks, we may not fix it, but damn it, we're hitting 5,000 sitter forehands from strike zone 4. I'm going to feed them to you. I'm going to put the ball machine on you, and then you get after it. A lot of people don't have that. They kind of, how do I do this? But there is no other way. I think, I like online learning. I like reading, but that's just points you in the right direction. Like, hey, in this online course, I learned I have to do this. Now you still got to go do it. Okay. If I just read books about tennis all my life, really good ones, and I never hit a tennis ball, I'm just going to have head knowledge. It's not going to be applicable. So I think it's count on the ball. Make a goal. Ball count matters, and if a drill doesn't give you lots of touches on the ball on that particular skill, whether it's volleys or overheads, whatever it is you're trying to improve, then it's not a good drill.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks, Jorge. And Livin has a comment. 75% of points are won by errors of opponents. How to practice targets. I mean, Jorge, there were a lot of ton of drills in there that you have in the program to practice targets, right? As we saw some.
Oh yeah, we do all kinds of targeting. We use the zones of the course. We use the
Yep.
runways of the court. I'll show you one thing, a targeting system. Let's see if I can share this.
Sure.
This is one. So I think early in this course, yeah. So we talk about the 6 zones. I kind of showed you that already, but this is a simple targeting system, right? So go here and you've seen them, right? Those are the 6. Remember I mentioned that there's ones behind. All right, so right back here, darn it, go here. That's zone 5 and zone 6. Like Rafa plays in zone 6 when he's at the French Open. At the US Open, he stands in zone 5 a lot. So that's one targeting system, right? Pay attention to that. The next one is, instead of depth, it's left to right. Okay, so we're going to go way out here. And these are, you've probably seen this, Craig O'Shaughnessy refers to, these are runways, games, and say how many times can you hit it to whatever target. Then you have the strike zone targeting system, which is, remember I showed you that was my wife Marty, with the 4 strike zones. So there's all kinds of, targeting things in strike zone. I call this personally I even like this one, the segmented swing. The swing size on the human body should, the way I like to explain it is 1 through 5. So if 0.0 there, you can see that's where you make contact. Then there's 5 parts to the backswing. So that would be a full backswing. And then there's 5 parts to the follow through, like that. And I like that because when I'm coaching, in my old days, I would tell people, hey, don't swing so big. And they're not aware because they're looking forward at the incoming ball. So I would say, hey, don't take such a big swing, Mehrban. Hey, Mehrban, that's way too big. And they don't know. So if I can teach them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they'll say, hey, Mehrban, you're swinging a 5-5. And on that return to serve, because it was coming 110 miles an hour, you should have been like a 3-5. Now it's better coaching, better communication. So yeah, there's a lot of that. Actually, that's something I put in all my courses. I call it my language because I teach and refer to all that stuff. So I always put it at the beginning of every course. So people, when they hear me say the zones, they're like, what is he talking about zones? But that's a system. I think that works pretty good for me.
Awesome, Jorge. And so ton of great questions today and so much great information. We got a ton of great feedback. Jorge, I just want you to summarize again, what exactly will people get if they get the All Access Pass through your link, and then I'll show them a graphic. Yep.
Yeah, so guys, obviously the big thing is you're getting all the 40 plus great presentations, from Tennis Summit 2021. This course that I'm throwing in here actually lives on my Jorge Capestany course. This is my player's website. Some of you are familiar with it. If you go here to see all the courses I have for sale.
Are you sharing? Sorry, I don't see it yet. No worries.
Yeah, old person. All right, so here it is on my website, and this is the course I'm throwing in. And the quick summary is finally a course that shows you exactly how you should practice to improve. Most players practice nothing like the pros. This course will give you specific drills and games to play each of the 5 play situations. And If you click through, you can see this course is currently selling for 197. So that's going to be thrown in, and then of course you saw what it looks like. That's this over here. Okay, on my homepage, when you get access to this, it's going to look like this. It'll be um, here's all my courses. They'll all be grayed out. This one will not be grayed out. And you click it, and then you're in like Flint, and here it all is. You go further, and I use this software that I like it because it's a real modern course. It's really big videos. Everything's over here on the left, so you can kind of have it all together in one spot. You don't have to. Everything's obviously high def and things. So yeah, and then of course, Mehrban, they're going to get all the stuff that you're throwing in, and I just wanted to throw this in as well. So if you are, there's probably people on here right now that have already bought from my link. You're going to get this. It's not just for people that buy the last hour. So anybody that's bought and anybody that buys through tomorrow will get this $197 course thrown in from me for buying through my link.
Yeah, it's amazing. We have a question too from Renee. Hey, Renee, how do we access the bonus, your bonus course after purchasing, Jorge?
Yeah, so what's this going to happen is probably by Thursday, Friday at the latest, Mehrban's going to send me a list of everybody that bought through my link. And then I'm going to have my guy create all of you accounts if you don't already have accounts. Some of you may have them. And we're going to add this course either to what you already have or just make you. And then you're going to get an email from my guy, probably from Kenny, support at Capestany. And it's going to have your login instructions. So we could probably get that to you, by the weekend. You'll have access to it, maybe Friday, because I know Mehrban will probably shoot me the numbers on Thursday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I just quickly want to go through everything you get, which is, I mean, it's really awesome, but we enjoy, giving you as much value as we can. So you get the, it's actually almost 50 master classes from the summit, a lifetime access. Yeah, it's crazy. And then you get the audio MP3 files of all of those, so you can listen to them, whenever you want, wherever you want. And then the transcripts of all the summit sessions, which, as I've been saying, has been taking a long time for my team to transcribe all these sessions. And then you'll get the summit implementation worksheet to help you get the most out of each session. And then you'll get exclusive access to our summit Facebook group where we can exchange ideas and talk tennis. And I'm always in there. And then you'll get the VIP live streams access as well in the future with myself and guest coaches on occasion. Then you'll also get special deals and discounts from our partners. But most importantly, you'll also get this amazing Pro Practice Secrets course from Jorge, which if you go to his website right now, you have to pay $197 for it, and you'll get it for free if you just pay $97 by getting the All Access Pass. So, Jorge's a good friend of mine, and he's just such a nice guy, and, I can't thank him enough for giving this amazing free course that you would pay normally $197 for, where you just pay $97 here to get the All Access Pass plus the course. So just amazing stuff. Jorge, thanks a lot. And yeah. So I don't know. Do you have any other closing remarks or anything you want to add to this?
Just, Mehrban, I'm assuming it's been a long haul for you. I know, I was. What maybe some of the viewers don't realize is, the summit's been up and going since the pre-launch week. It's been a couple of weeks now, but even before that, you were just recording and getting a hold of everybody. So I'm sure you're ready for a little break and have a nice margarita somewhere. But I appreciate you, Mehrban, for putting it all together. It's an easy thing, I know how it works. Probably everybody watching this is getting emails from all of us that are online. You get them from my friends, Ian and Will and everybody. Okay. And we're all kind of cool and friendly with each other, which is kind of what I like. But this is an easy one. The fact that people can watch for pretty much the whole thing, they can watch everything for free for 48 hours is epic. So it's really easy for me to send that. I send an email every day because at that time, I wasn't really asking people to buy anything. I just wanted you to go, hey, freaking, Kovacs is speaking today and Anna Cohen, there's some killers out there that you can watch for free. I want my players to watch that because, why not? It's free content from world-class coaches. And if they upgrade or not, that's fine too. Obviously, most people don't buy, but still, it's such a cool thing that so many people got to see it. 14 or whatever many thousand people got to see it for free. That's amazing. So kudos to you, my friend.
Thank you so much, Jorge. It's always love connecting with you, and you're genuinely such a nice guy. And thanks a lot for all your contributions to tennis. Seriously, so thank you, and thank you everybody for attending. And yeah, as we mentioned, just take advantage of this great deal. It's only it's basically expiring tomorrow at midnight. So definitely highly encourage you to get the All Access Pass plus Jorge's Pro Practice Secrets course. And so I'll drop the link one more time, and you can probably see the green button below this video on the page where you can click on that as well, and that will enable you to get the bonus from Jorge, the great Pro Practice Secrets course. So yeah, with that, thank you, Jorge, again, and thank you everybody. It's always fun, and
Thank you,
we'll see you
everybody.
soon.
Thanks for tuning in tonight. Hopefully,
Bye.
some that was helpful to you.
Thanks everybody.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.